This is Mekus with the Continence Club. I am back with another amazing presentation. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. In today's demonstration, I'm going to be sharing some groundbreaking information as it regards to identity shifting. I'm here to tell you this right now. This is a dangerous video for those who know how to apply what I'm about to share with you today. Because when you align your mind, body, and soul, that is really how you're going to make that shift from your current situation to your desired situation and become the person that you want to be. Now, with that being said, enough talking, it's time to demonstrate. Let's get to it. Shifting your identity, right? It requires a synchronized alignment across three levels: mental, physical, and soul, right? So let's go ahead and break this down. What do I mean by the mental, physical, and soul plane? So let's talk about the physical, because that's what me and you have been used to for the majority of our lives, along with the rest of society. We focus so much on the physical and operate on that physical level, abandoning, that mental and soul spirit side that we have. But mind you, there are people who operate more on that soul side, that spiritual side over the physical side. But don't worry, we're going to get to it, and I'm going to demonstrate why it all needs to be in alignment. So starting off on the physical plane, this is the reason why you remain stuck in your current situations, because you ignore all three levels of existence that are required for you to shift your identity into your desired situation. So let's dive a little deeper. The problem is that you're going through life predominantly operating on the physical level of existence, which is such a low level to operate on. Like, this is really an animalistic level to operate on when you're solely worried about your five senses, right? What you can feel, hear, taste, touch, see, etc. It's such a low level existence because you need to remember that, this physical plane didn't come first. It came from a cause. This physical plane is an effect. And how does this pertain to shifting your identity? Well, you probably think it's all about grinding all day and all night, and all you got to do is grind, 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 action, action, action. When in reality, that's not the case. You think it's all about just hard work, but that's not really true. In addition, you're operating in a fear-based mindset, a scarcity mindset. You're procrastinating a lot, and this is what you're aligning yourself to physically, which is why it seems hard for you to shift identities. The fact that you're operating on this physical plane, let's say you're taking, the action you feel like you're supposed to take, but you can't shift. And why is this? Is because, yeah, you may be taking the action, you're grinding all day, all night, but you have a fear-based mindset, a scarcity-based mindset. So that doesn't make any sense. How do you expect to shift your identity and you feel like you're doing the work you're supposed to do, but your mindset isn't right? You see how you're operating on that physical plane of existence? We're going to break it down today. We're going to break this down today. Another thing you don't understand is that you're not experiencing reality as it is. You're perceiving reality through your own individual consciousness. You feel like life is hitting you in the face. But in reality, you're hitting your own self in the face. Really. And it's a hard pill to swallow, and I understand that. And it wasn't until I took accountability and understood that I have the privilege to change this. I had enough. And that's the difference between me and a lot of people. And that's the difference between you and a lot of people, is that you've had enough and you're here to change and you're ready for it, right? And a lot of people aren't ready to make this shift. So what you're experiencing outside is a reflection of the system running inside. People have this backwards, man. Like, a lot of people think that, life is just happening to them and they don't have any control. And I'll be honest, I got tired of thinking that way, And so the truth is, you're misaligned. You're eating rubbish when you're not supposed to. You're playing the victim. You're not keeping your word. You're procrastinating. You're living in fear. And I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is the truth. As long as you continue to do things that you're not supposed to do, you remain misaligned. And this is why you cannot properly shift your identity, right? You have to follow through on your word. You have to do those things that you're supposed to do. Because whenever you do that, that's going to build self-conviction. And when you have self-conviction, that's going to strengthen your frequency, and it's going to help your reality bend to your will. So do not forget that God sees your frequency 24/7, and it gets projected outwards 24/7. You continue to maintain the frequency of a misaligned person, which will not change until you do. You see, you're misaligned. You're taking all the action you feel like is necessary, but your mental isn't right. You're misaligned already. Remember, reality changes with these three levels of existence, and I'm gonna break down the other two here in a second. So the takeaway about the physical plane is that it's an effect created by thought. Remember, God, commanded the world to be created. The world wasn't just here, it didn't come first. It came through, that expression of thought, right? For this reason, do not make the mistake like most people do by attempting to change and affect the physical plane. This is really how people are operating on a day-to-day basis, and they have no idea. This is why they remain stuck. So here is what I want you to understand, right, about the mental plane, because once I break down the mental plane and the soul plane, we're going to talk about what you need to keep in mind as you bridge the gap from your current situation to your desired situation. So let's talk about the mental plane. When it comes to the mental plane, you can truly shift your identity successfully when you change your mental attitude. And this is what all my videos are about. I help you control your mind so that you can be able to shift into the identity that you seek and create your desired reality. That's what the Continence Club is all about, right? I help you shift your identity to be the person that you want to be. So think about the mental plane like Ditto from Pokemon. You might not watch Pokemon, you might watch Pokemon, I'm not sure. But this Pokemon right here can transform into any Pokemon, any legendary Pokemon, it doesn't matter. So think about the mental plane like Ditto, immaterialized thought, right? So Ditto is immaterialized thought. And once Ditto transforms, once you alter your frequency, Ditto forms any matter that it wants to. And in your case, you're gonna change into the identity of your choice, right? So, the whole point of Ditto transforming into any Pokemon applies to you. Basically, you have the privilege to choose who you want to become by aligning your frequency. And remember that your frequency is monitored 24/7 by God, and that's what's going to be materialized in due time. So what am I saying? Mental comes before physical. Always. And here's the problem. The problem is you probably think about what you want all day long without taking any action, thinking you'll just attract whatever. You see, people operate on different levels of existence and neglect the other ones. So, like I said, you might be operating solely on that physical plane, like the majority of society. You might be operating on the mental plane, like a handful of society, right? So, it also spills into the soul plane. And so when I refer to the soul plane, your spirit, honestly, your soul, I like to say soul because the truth is you are a living soul. You're an authentic soul in this world, filled with people with spirits. But that's a conversation for another time. This is who you truly are, a living soul. This is your infinite self. When you operate here, you have the ability to connect with infinite intelligence. So here's the problem with operating on just the soul plane. The problem here is that many people like yourself just focus on praying to God all day long without taking any action, expecting a handout. That's not how it works, my guy. My girl, that's not how it works at all. Those very spiritual people who just pray all day, but they still seem to be in poverty. Like, why is that, right? So this is why it's important for you to connect mental, physical, and the soul planes so that you can properly shift your identity. And so this is what I want you to keep in mind whenever bridging the gap. It's that when you bridge the gap to your desired identity, understand that reality reacts to you. You don't react to reality. Let me say that again. Reality reacts to you. You don't react to reality. My whole life, the majority of my life, I was always reacting to reality. You probably still react to reality, right? We need to flip the script here. The secret that, people don't want you to know, that really know this information, is that reality reacts to you. What I'm basically trying to tell you is you command reality through your own mind. So this is why it's important to completely immerse yourself and become the character worthy of a successful identity shift. I say it in my videos, I'm going to say it again like a broken record. We don't chase goals, we chase characters. Because when you chase character, you're worthy of whatever goal it is that you set for yourself. That's the importance of identity shifting. All you experience here on earth is cause and effect. Remember that. This world is cause and effect. Success, blessings, poverty, lack, whatever it is, it's all cast by your own mind from your own internal state and perception. I talk about it. It's all about your attention and your perception. Where's your energy going every day, right? So I want you to keep this in mind. This is very important. You have to align yourself in this order: mental first, then spiritual, then physical. Understand that operating on that physical level, like 90% of people, is such a low level to operate on, right? Everything comes from the mental plane. So remember, you're just like Ditto. You're like this Pokemon right here. Who do you want to become? You can transform into that person right here, right now, right? So whenever it comes to the mental state, hold your reality in your mind as it already exists. When it comes to the soul plane, remember that you are an image of God. God can never fail. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. Remember how powerful you are, being a microcosm of the macrocosm, as above, so below. Focus more within than you do without, as within, so without. And whenever it comes to the physical plane, establish yourself on the higher levels of existence first. Your intuition will guide you on the action you need to take. That voice in your head that tells you not to eat that cake, right, to make that better decision. You know, your intuition will guide you. Act on your intuition. Your gut feeling is important. So once you align your mind, body, and soul, it's over, right? You are going to shift your identity, and you are going to be proud of the person that you have become. And once you shifted your identity and you broke those generational curses and you broke your limitations mentally, you know, you've completed, you know, the mission that you have here on this planet, you know, consistent spiritual evolution, becoming the person that you want to be, tapping in and realizing your potential. This is Mekus with the Continence Club. If you like this information, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you on the other side, and keep going. Peace.